Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. This is a reading for Scorpio suns, or if you have any significant Scorpio placements and are needing to work with or balance masculine energies within yourself, then this reading is for you. So Scorpio, for your message today, first of all, your energy is coming in really strongly, and so I will have to sort of collect myself because I feel like there's a really strong desire on your part is kind of how this is feeling, and it's like propelling you into action, or at least that's what you're sort of moving towards. It's kind of how this is feeling. And actually your energy is so strong today that I actually had a dream about what this message was going to be about, just sort of like as a like an intuitive download, because I do receive a lot of messages through my dream state. So for your reading today, I'm just gonna, this is like the general context of your reading, which I am gonna start with, because I did pull a lot of cards, but they are confirming what it was that I received in the dream and giving more insight into that. So the experience in what I saw for your message today, Scorpio, what your energy is about, is that I feel like you have a very strong desire to move towards a significant person, right? So it feels romantic. It doesn't have to be. It could be like an opportunity, could be a job, but it really is feeling like a romantic interest of yours. And they're being described here as like the Empress, the Hanged Man, and the Strength card. So Leo was coming in through really strongly, but it could also be like Taurus, Libra, Pisces even. But for some reason, Leo was coming in really strongly. And it's like, because they're coming through with all of this gorgeous energy, it feels like something like you're really seeing some sort of like potential in them. Like, even if it's like somebody that you just met, or if you're already in a relationship, could be just like wanting to move to the next level, that kind of thing. But it's like you are the one who's like moving towards them, is how I feel this message is coming through. And it's like taking a lot of deliberate care, actually, is kind of how I'm seeing this. It's like you have a plan, it feels like, because you have here the Two of Cups and then the Five of Inspiration and the Fool. So how I'm seeing this actually is the Five of Inspiration is almost like trying on different ideas, right? Like making different plans, that kind of thing, to see what the best thing would be. Or it could just be practicing, is kind of how I was getting this thing, because it kind of feels like something like, it feels like a very big gesture, Scorpio, something that you're wanting to do. It feels like a very big thing that has like taken a lot of preparation or planning or practice. And with the Fool card, it's like you are going in this direction. You're stepping into this sort of unknown thing to move towards this person. But of course, there's always a however, right? There's always like something about this plan that's wanting to be cleared through this reading. And it actually has to do with like friends. This is how I was getting the message. Like you have like a friend group perhaps who's perhaps almost like discouraging you to move in this direction, is kind of how this is feeling. Like they could be saying things like, oh, you just met this person, Scorpio, like, what are you thinking, right? Like, it could be something like that, or it could be like they're just not taking you seriously, is kind of how this is feeling. Like your friend group is telling you like, Scorpio, you're moving too fast, or you're not thinking clearly, or like this is not the right thing for you to do. That's sort of what the energy is that I'm getting from your friend group, because it's coming through like the Six of Cups I see as being sort of like perhaps people that you've known for a really long time, like your childhood friends or whatever it is, people that you feel comfortable with for sure. But it's coming through with the Devil and the Three of Swords. And this is all your energy, right? It's like you have something that you want to do with the Ace of Pentacles. You want a new start. You're coming through with this King of Wands, is having a lot of inspiration, motivation to move forward. And then the Nine of Wands, which is talking about disappointments. Like they're almost like telling you, because they are coming through with this energy. Not that it's not necessarily a karmic relationship or anything like that. What it's just saying is that your friend group, I'm just calling it a friend group because that's how it's coming through in the cards. It could be playing out differently with you. Like, it could be like sisters or brothers or whatever it is. Like siblings, cousins, however you want to describe the Six of Cups, which I always see as sort of like non-romantic soulmates, right? Like significant people in your life. But they are acting out in sort of this pattern that is wanting to come through, and it's making you feel vulnerable is kind of how this is feeling, because I feel like, anyways, we'll just get into the cards. But what's important here is this discernment card, is that not everything that's reflected to you, right? Not everything that's like given to you, or like that not all of the energy that is projected to you is for you, right? Some of it you can just let go. And I feel like that's what the focus of this reading is wanting to be today, is that you're having to use your discernment in taking this action, because there may be voices within your physical environment that are telling you not to do this, or to rethink, or perhaps they're just not taking you seriously, or just like they're okay, anyway, we'll get through it. We'll get to it. So, the first card out you have here is the Nightingale, which made me laugh because in this dream, the symbolism that came through, that I was being reminded of this person I knew in university. He was part of our friend group, but sort of like peripherally. He had this idea in university of singing karaoke, like this like love ballad to some girl to like tell her how he felt. So it could be something like that, right? Like you're wanting to like confess your love to someone, right? That could be one example. That's usually how I see this Nightingale. It's something that you desire and expressing it to the universe to try and manifest it or create it or whatever it is. Right? And along with that story, like that was the symbol that came through with what your message is today, of that, like, as someone who is part of the friend group, we were all sort of discouraging him because we were like, Joe, not his real name, but like, Joe, you just met this girl. Like, what are you thinking? Like, that's not going to go over well, right? That could be a response that your friend group is having and telling you, Scorpio, what are you thinking? Why are you doing this? But there is a significant thing here, because I always see this as being a call, but today it's actually coming through with like singing or expressing yourself, like using your voice to express some sort of desire or truth or emotional message, right? With all the birds. And then this bat is actually something that's like at a distance. So it could be that you haven't actually met this person yet. It could be that you're just like wanting to be in a relationship, for example, and trying to call it in, right? Trying to manifest it, and perhaps like changing like your behaviors, perhaps, or like just doing things differently, connecting with your emotional needs, perhaps, something like that. And what you're doing, or even it could be, because there's a lot of moon energy in this, in your energy today, Scorpio, which is talking about that I feel like you're perhaps being very much influenced by your emotions to take this action or move in this direction or something like that. And because it's coming in with the oneness, like look at all this, like these cards are so beautiful today. Like all this like blue and red, which I feel like is talking about that you are absolutely calling in whatever this energy is with the bat. So it could be the other person. It could be like a significant soulmate that you are calling in and manifesting. They are responding, because I always see this bat as like listening to or following cues that perhaps are like emotional cues, but it does feel like there's a distance, meaning that you're not quite together, but this action, your energy, is absolutely calling these two things together, right? You and this other person, if it's that. And that's being emphasized here as well with the Two of Inspiration, your person at a distance, and then you, Scorpio, the star, right? Well, this is the Six of Inspirations, which talks about success, but it's really talking about, like, especially because it was coming through with, like, the karaoke of, like, doing a performance of some sort. There's something like putting you in the spotlight, right? Like, I feel like that's what you're wanting, or like whatever this plan or action is that you're wanting to take, it would absolutely sort of put you in the spotlight in some way, or like make your intentions known. It feels very much like a love confession, but it doesn't have to be, right? It could just be any sort of, or like not, it doesn't have to be like a romantic love confession. It is in a sense putting your heart on the line though, right? It's exposing some aspect of what it is that you desire and putting it out into the world. And I feel like in doing so, this one, whoever they are, at a distance, is being drawn to your energy, is how it's feeling. And this is where it gets complicated. Or not complicated, but this is where sort of the other energies are coming in, right? Whoever they are, this is the friend group, is kind of how I'm seeing it. The peacock and the tiger. So again, it doesn't have to be friend group. Apply it to your life how it resonates. But with the peacock here, I always see this as kind of like an outside influence, right? Because the way it's on my table here is that this is you, Scorpio, focused on the thing that you're trying to manifest, right? The desire, the person, the action, the outcome. And it's like they're looking at you. They're tuned into you, absolutely. They're trying to figure out what it is that you're doing, like why you feel compelled to do this or whatever it is. And because it's coming through with like this tiger I always see is like being activated, right? Something about what you're doing is activating their energy in almost like a negative way, right? It's not quite triggering. It could be. There could be some sort of like fear within their energy, but it's kind of just like it's activating some aspect of their security where they're feeling like that they could never do this. They would never do something that you're doing or you're planning, Scorpio, because for them, it feels like a threat to their security. It's kind of how this is feeling, right? They're feeling activated, or their energy is feeling like uncomfortable with what you're doing because it's triggering within them some aspect of their security that they would not be able to let go. And keep in mind that this could also be something within yourself as well. It could be one aspect of yourself where it's like you're wanting to make a movement, but you're conscious of other people's perceptions of you. And if you were to make this movement, it would threaten some aspect of like your vulnerability, how you feel safe and all of that. But I'm going to read it as being sort of like others, right? Like that they could be activating as well because they're in this energy of the tiger, which I always see as being sort of like an activation of a childhood wound or something like that. It doesn't have to be like that specifically. It could just be an activation of like discomfort in some way. But anyways, I'm seeing it as a friend group because it did come through with the Three of Materials. And so I'm always drawn to like the hair in this card, right? How they're woven together, right? So it could be that you and this friend group, like, you know how when you spend a lot of time with people, you start to like adopt their habits and like the way that they speak or their ideas or like the things that they like, that kind of thing. So it's kind of like because you've been in this like tight-knit group is how it's feeling for a long time, like your paths, your ideas, your thoughts are very much enmeshed. But because you're coming out with the star, it's kind of like in doing this action, right? In making this move, you would be sort of pulling your energy, your thoughts, your mindset away from this group. And that could be why it's like triggering them. I'm just kidding. in like The Lion King, right? The song "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," where it's like, what are their names? Timon, Simba, Pumbaa. They're all a tight knit group, but as soon as Simba like falls in love, right? This group no longer is a trio. It's like our trio's down to two, right? There could be something like that where where they're feeling activated because you're now moving on to something else, or like you're not going to be spending as much time in this group anymore, right? There could be something like that. Anyways, it's coming out with this, the perception card, which I love so much. This card is so interesting because it talks about having a specific focus, right? It's like you're so focused on a task, or it doesn't have to be a task. You're so focused on a specific mindset that you have, perhaps, that you are almost like closed off or blocked off to any sort of outside or new perspective is kind of how this card presents. So I feel like this is the energy of the peacock, right? This friend group, that they've been in some sort of focus for such a long time, right? And it could be like, they could be just really cynical about romantic relationships, for example, something like that. They could just have like a really jaded perspective on love. And so they won't ever see any sort of like positivity in that area because of that perspective that they hold. And it's like, for you, you're coming through with this ecstasy card where it's kind of like you are the thing that's breaking their focus, right? Because you're in this energy, you're breaking their focus. You're breaking some aspect of their fixed mindset. Because they're coming through here after this with the Transcendence card as being like, because again with the hair, right? It's like if you've like taken your hair out of this braid, they're left here with, because it looks like the hair's been like shorn off, right? Like it's been cut off or like hacked away. It's like you had to like hack your way out of this twisted braid in order to gain some sort of like, in order to go off on your own perhaps, or like to just like not spend as much time with these ones. And it's like they're seeing you, because the Transcendence card talks about discomfort but also expansion, that whatever it is that you're doing or planning on doing is actually breaking some sort of fixed mindset that they've had about relationships, for example, in a way that's making them uncomfortable, absolutely, but also potentially causing them to have some sort of new perspective on you, absolutely, on who you are as a person, but also perhaps on their perspectives of love and relationships in general. And there's something interesting here about this Hanged Man and the Ecstasy card, because since I started using these decks together, I've been seeing these as a complete set, right? Even though they're from different decks, right? So this is again the person that you're wanting to move towards. So what this is saying is that it's almost like, because I see this as like a complete set or a perfect match. There's something here about, when I saw these two cards together, I was thinking of, like, I recently spent time with a friend from university, a different friend, but so she lives in Australia and she came back to Toronto for a little bit and we spent some time together. She brought her partner with her, who I was meeting for the first time, and we were just sort of walking around Toronto, and we went to Indigo, and we were just like walking around, right? Like window shopping, that kind of thing, spending time together. And then there was this moment here where I saw her and her partner standing together, and the candles behind them, they were standing in like the candle section, and right in between them said like a perfect match, right? There was a candle there that said a perfect match, with both of them standing on either side of the candle. And I wish I had taken a picture of it, because it was such a synchronistic moment for me to confirm for them that they were absolutely a perfect match, like me meeting her partner for the first time. Anyway, so that's coming through for your message today, where I feel like, Scorpio, you and this person feel like a perfect match. Just kind of how this is feeling. It's not so much going into this dynamic, because I feel like you're pretty sure about this already, Scorpio. It's like nothing I say is going to deter you from this energy, right? It's like all of your energy is very much focused. The only holdup is that your friends don't seem to agree with that. And it's kind of like, I don't know, does it matter? Perhaps it does. Perhaps it does to you, because they are very close to you, right? It seems like perhaps you grew up together, but what's wanting to be talked about more about here is the Eight of Wands, Eight of Inspiration. Perhaps no, it's not even any of those. It's the Eight of Materials. Eight of Pentacles. So this card was talking to me about, there's this show I used to watch as a kid called Xena, the Warrior Princess, which I loved to watch growing up. But there's this one scene where, like, one episode where Xena transformed into this, like, strange, like, she was channeling the god Kali, right? So she grew, like, 8 arms, and her skin turned blue. And I remember watching that scene, and it absolutely terrified me when I was watching it. And I'm pretty sure I never watched another episode of that show again. But this is how I feel like they're seeing you. Your friend group, actually, is kind of like whatever it is that you're doing, Scorpio, it's almost like you've transformed into some sort of creature with all of these eyes with the peacock. It's like they're trying to understand what it is that you're going through, or whatever it is, that somebody that you've known for a really long time, who knows you very well, is looking at you and is seeing, like, someone that they don't recognize, is kind of how this is feeling. But I want to say that in witnessing you, because in witnessing whatever it is that you're doing, it's absolutely shattering some aspect of their perspective or their mindsets on what love is, or what bravery is, or what courage is, right? That kind of thing. Because what you're doing is all of that. It's like you're like shooting your shot is kind of how this is feeling. You're putting your heart on the line. You're stepping out into this, right? You have here the Star. So this is Aquarius energy for sure. So this season might be really, really significant for you. But because you had the Six of Inspiration, it's kind of like having the Star twice, which is talking about, like, success, but also, like, your wishes granted. Everything that you're doing is in alignment, right? It's a positive direction forward, I want to say. And with the Hierophant coming out next, if you've been watching, like, the last couple of readings that I've been doing, the Hierophant's been coming out so much, and I feel like I just needed a break from those decks that I was using, because depending on which deck I use, the Hierophant has a different message, a different feel. And so for your reading today, this Hierophant is talking about an inner journey, that whatever it is that you're doing is absolutely an inner journey, meaning that any other outside influence perhaps has some sort of effect on what it is you're doing, right? But in the end, it's like no one else can sort of help you or tell you what to do. Even me, I'm just some person on YouTube, right? You don't know me, I don't know you. I'm just reading the energy, but it's kind of like you have to decide for yourself how it is you're going to engage with this action, this energy, what it is that you want, your own desire perhaps. But I was also just really drawn to the Hood, meaning that you don't have to share your plans or your ideas or your movements to this group of people, whoever they are. You don't have to share that. You can keep that to yourself. You can just focus on your own energy of like, again, connecting with your perhaps inner truth, your inner guidance, that kind of thing. And I feel like this reading is just wanting to make you aware that if you are receiving any sort of reactions from the people around you, that you may actually be serving as sort of like a wake-up call or like a catalyst for them to change the way that they've been engaging with the situation or with their lives or with their relationships, perhaps, right? Because it kind of feels like what you are doing is terrifying them, absolutely terrifying them, but in a very positive way where it's forcing them to rethink everything that they've learned or what they know about the situation thus far, their experiences, because you're almost breaking the mold or breaking the pattern in some way, Scorpio. So I love your reading today because I'm always, this is sort of my personal bias of like, I'm always trying to encourage people to like step out of the box, to do something different, to be courageous and be brave and like do things that are scary or activating or challenging, because that's where the growth is, right? That's where the opportunity for growth is. Anyways, Scorpio, good luck with this. I feel like also here with the Muse of Materials, the last card, is telling you that it is bringing you to a new place, right? Whatever this action is, whatever the outcome is, though I feel like it will absolutely be successful, because you have actually the Six of Wands twice, right? I'm going to go through these cards in the extended, but it's just wanting to confirm for you, Scorpio, that this is going to be successful, right? You have all of the things, like I feel like it's a perfect opportunity, perfect alignment as well. The full moon might be sort of a significant time for you as well. I'm going to add that in at the end, but you are moving into some sort of new energy or space, and it's kind of like just stay focused on where it is that you're going. All right, Scorpio, I'm going to leave it there. If you're interested in the extended, you can find info for that in the link below. You can also find info for personal readings if you want one of those. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.